There is a place in Asia. A place where streets appear on foot but disappear on maps. A place where locals refuse to speak its name, even when asked directly. A place where the government denies its existence. Although thousands walk through it every night, they call it many different things. The corridor, the Violet Mile, the city below the city. But its most whispered name is something far more simple. The district. No country claims it. No city protects it, and no official document acknowledges that it's real. But tonight, you and I are going there. Before we begin, I want you to imagine something. Imagine walking down a regular street, cars passing, shops closing, people heading home. Then imagine turning one wrong corner, just one, and finding yourself in a place where time works differently, where the neon lights don't flicker. They watch, where the people don't talk. They observe, and where the rules you've known your whole life suddenly stop applying. Tonight's story is not about crime. It's not about nightlife. And it's not about tourism. It's about one of the most secretive districts in the world. A district built on whispers, silence, coded signs, and shadows that seem to move even when there's no one there. Now, let's start at the beginning. Chapter 1. The Man Who Vanished Before the Sunrise. The story of this district truly begins with a man named Cale Morton, a British backpacker who arrived in Asia 5 years ago. Kyle was not a thrill seeker. He wasn't a journalist or a detective or some adventurous traveler looking for danger. He was normal. A graphic designer, a quiet guy, someone who preferred street food over fancy restaurants and hostels over hotels. Kyle documented everything, every meal, every street, every conversation. His entire travel life was recorded on a small pocket camera. But something changed the night he discovered the district. At exactly 1:13 a.m., Kyle posted his final video online, a short shaky clip of him walking through a narrow alley lit by purple and blue neon lights. In the video he says one thing: "I finally found it. The place locals warned me about." Then the video ends. Kyle was never seen again. His friends searched for him. His family flew in. Local police opened a case, then closed it 48 hours later, citing lack of evidence. But hundreds of viewers who saw his final video noticed something. Something subtle. In the background, behind Cale, there was a woman, standing perfectly still, watching him, but her face was blurred. Not by motion, not by lighting. It was blurred unnaturally, as if the camera refused to capture it. And that was the moment thousands of people around the world learned, for the first time, that this district might actually be real. Chapter 2. The Gate with No Name. To understand what Kyle found, we have to go back decades. For years, travelers have told the same story. If you walk deep enough into the old quarter, past the silent shops, past the shuttered markets, you'll eventually reach a gate with no name. This gate is not big, not grand, not guarded, it's just there. A slim archway of aging brick, with a single strip of violet light running across its top. People say if you walk through it during the day, you'll find nothing, just a quiet residential area. But if you walk through it after midnight, you enter a completely different world. What's inside feels like an underground city, but above the ground. The air changes first. It becomes thick, warm, scented with something floral and metallic at the same time. Many say the air is artificially controlled, pumped through vents hidden in the walls. Then the sounds hit you. Not music, not voices, more like an endless low-frequency hum, like a heartbeat under the ground. And then the lights. The district is not lit with regular neon. It uses a strange, almost hypnotic combination of violet, indigo, and deep blue lights, lights that make your shadow appear sharper and longer. No two people experience the district the same way. Some describe it as thrilling, some as terrifying. Some say it feels like walking inside a dream. Some say it feels like walking inside someone else's memory. But one thing is always the same. You cannot film inside. Your camera will glitch. Your phone will shut down. Your audio will distort. Yet Kyle somehow managed to record that last final clip, and that alone already makes him different. Chapter 3. The district rules. The district follows a set of rules. Nobody knows who created them or when or why, but everyone, tourists, locals, workers, obeys them. Here are the rules as travelers describe them. Rule 1. You cannot ask anyone their real name. Rule 2. You cannot negotiate. The district decides the price. Rule 3. You cannot take photos or videos. You can try, but your device will not cooperate. Rule 4. If someone touches your shoulder, you must follow them or leave immediately. Rule 5. If you hear your name whispered, even if you're sure it's not real, leave. Rule 6. Do not look at mirrors for too long. The district is filled with reflective glass, on walls, on doors, on bars, on booths, but these mirrors are different. People say that if you stare long enough, you'll notice that the reflection behind you is wrong. Sometimes it moves too slowly, sometimes too quickly, sometimes it doesn't match your expression, and sometimes someone else is standing behind you in the reflection, someone who isn't actually there. But the strangest rule is Rule 7. Rule 7. You must leave before sunrise. If you stay longer, no one will see you leave. Chapter 4. The workers who never age. People who work inside the district, bartenders, dancers, escorts, guards, hosts, have one thing in common. They don't seem to age. Travelers who visited the district 10 years apart describe meeting the exact same people, with the same faces, same clothes, same voices. One man who visited in 2009 returned in 2021. He met the same hostess at the entrance, a woman with a silver choker and violet lipstick. She looked exactly the same. Not older, not younger. Exactly the same. When he asked her if she remembered him, she leaned in and whispered, "We remember everyone." But when he tried to ask her how, she gently touched his shoulder, and that meant he had to leave. What most people don't know about the district is this. There is no music, not a single bar, club, or lounge plays songs you recognize. There are no DJs, no bands, no speakers. Instead, Taziuti, there are performers. They move silently, swaying, twisting, arching their bodies with inhuman smoothness. Some say their movements look like underwater dancing. Others say it looks like rituals, choreographed motions meant to hypnotize or guide the viewer's emotions. Each performer wears a mask, not to hide their face, Chipyin, but to hide their absence of emotion. Their masks are smooth, porcelain white, with no mouth. Just two elongated eye shapes that glow faintly under the violet lights. Like I said earlier, no two people experience the district the same way. But one detail appears in nearly every story. The performers never blink, even when they stand perfectly still, even when their eyes face you directly, even when you walk past them. They simply do not blink. One tourist, a woman from Canada, said she got too close to one performer, close enough to see her own reflection in the mask's glossy surface. And she heard something, a whisper, not a voice, not words, just breathing, coming from behind the mask. But when she stepped back, the performer's head snapped toward her, silently and tilted just a little too far, like a broken doll. She ran. Smart choice. Chapter 6. The Path of Echoes. Some alleys inside the district have names, not official names, just names travelers gave them. One of the most unsettling corridors is known as the Path of Echoes. It's long, narrow, lit only by dim blue lights that hang from wires overhead. But the strange part is the sound. If you walk down the path alone, you will hear footsteps behind you. Slow, steady, perfectly synchronized, but always half a second behind your own. Every traveler describes the same experience. If you stop, the footsteps stop. If you turn around, there's no one. If you walk faster, the footsteps walk faster too. A man named Gregory, a military veteran from Australia, once tried to trick the echo. He sprinted forward, then jumped to the side, trying to catch whoever was mimicking his steps. He caught nothing, but something caught him. As he slowed down, he felt breath on his neck, warm human breath followed by a whisper that didn't sound like English or any language he knew. 3 seconds later, the lights along the path flickered violently. All at once, Gregory looked up, and for just a moment, he saw someone standing at the end of the alley. Not walking, not approaching, just standing, facing him. Gregory ran until he reached the gate. He never went back. Chapter 7. The Room of the Returning. Inside the district, there are rooms known only to locals, closed doors with no signs, no windows, no obvious purpose. But one room has been described often enough to confirm its existence. Travelers call it the Room of the Returning. Here's how it works. You enter through a narrow doorway draped with thick, velvet curtains. Inside, there is a small circular space surrounded by mirrors, floor to ceiling, reflecting infinite versions of you. In the center stands a single chair. People who sit in that chair claim something terrifying. The reflection behind them moves before they do. One man described it like this: "When I looked at the mirror, I saw myself, but when I blinked, my reflection didn't." Others say their reflections tilt their heads at unnatural angles, or smile too slowly, or show expressions they didn't make. Some claim to see people standing behind them, shadowy figures with long arms and hollow faces, but when they turn around, there's no one there. One visitor, an American woman named Elise, entered the room as a joke with her friends. They dared her to sit in the chair for 10 seconds. She lasted 7. When she stood up, she was trembling and covered in goosebumps. Her friends asked what she saw. She answered only, "Me, but not me." Chapter 8. The Whisper Market. At the far end of the district is an area known as the Whisper Market. It's not a real market. There are no price tags, no shelves, no vendors shouting deals. Instead, the market is filled with small booths where men and women sit in stillness, waiting. If you approach a booth, the person inside will lean forward and whisper something. Always just one sentence. Travelers have reported hearing things like, "You shouldn't be here." "He's watching you." "You've been here before." "You won't remember this in the morning." "She's waiting behind you." But the most disturbing sentence ever reported is this: "Your reflection left 5 minutes ago." Most people run after hearing just one whisper. Even the bravest leave after 2. But one man, a daredevil YouTuber from Germany, visited every booth in the market during a single night. He recorded his experience later, after escaping the district. He said that the final booth, the one at the very end of the market, contained a woman with long black hair covering her face. When he approached, she didn't whisper right away. She just slowly lifted her head, revealing eyes that were too bright to be natural. Then she leaned forward and whispered, "You shouldn't have looked for me." He swears that as he ran away, the market stalls behind him began closing one by one, not manually, but as if something invisible was chasing him down the path. Chapter 9. The Doors That Change. One detail about the district is more unsettling than any other. The layout changes. Bars, rooms, corridors, stages, they all shift. Not dramatically, not magically, just subtly enough that you doubt your memory. A hallway you passed 10 minutes ago might not be there later. A door you entered might lead to a different room when you return. A staircase that once went up might go down. People who spend more than an hour inside often get lost. Not because the district is big, but because it rearranges itself around the people inside. One traveler described it like this: "It felt like the walls were breathing. Not moving, not shaking, just adjusting." Another said, "You don't walk through the district. The district walks around you. And remember Rule 7. Leave before sunrise." Maybe now it makes sense. Because if the district really does shift during the early hours, maybe that's why some people never find their way out. Chapter 10. The faces repeated. The deeper you travel into the district, the more unsettling the people become. Not because of how they act, but because of how familiar they seem. Multiple visitors claim they saw the same face on different people. Not similar faces, not relatives, the same exact face. One woman reported seeing a bartender with short blonde hair and a diamond earring. 10 minutes later, she saw a dancer with long black hair, but the same face, same eyes, same jawline, same expression. Others saw duplicate doormen, duplicate performers, even duplicate tourists. A French traveler said he saw a version of himself sitting at a bar stool, wearing different clothes, holding a different drink, but unmistakably him. He left immediately, and he never traveled again.
Chapter 11. The Hand That Grabs. There is a story told often by seasoned travelers. A story about a narrow, almost invisible staircase inside the district. It doesn't appear every night. Some visitors swear it wasn't there when they walked past earlier, but once it appears, it looks old, dusty, forgotten, like something you weren't meant to find. This staircase leads down into darkness, a pitch-black corridor with no lights, no sounds, no signs. People call it the stairs of the unseen. Most ignore it. Some are curious. A very small number descend, and almost all return running. One couple from Poland described their experience. They walked down the steps slowly, holding hands, shining a small flashlight ahead. But the light didn't go far. It was swallowed by the blackness, like smoke dissolving in the ocean. 5 steps down, they heard breathing, not human breathing, something hoarse, wet, slow, like lungs filled with liquid. 7 steps down, they felt vibrations in the floor. 10 steps down, the girlfriend screamed and yanked her hand away. Her boyfriend grabbed her arm and pulled her back up the stairs, both of them stumbling into the lights of the district above. When they finally stopped running, the boyfriend asked what she felt. She said, "Someone grabbed my ankle. A hand. Cold. Small. It pulled me backward." Her ankle was bruised in the shape of long, narrow fingers. When people checked the staircase later that night, it was gone. Not blocked, not closed. Gone. Chapter 12. The Lost Hour. If there's one phenomenon that every traveler reports, no matter their culture, language, or background, it's the lost hour. Visitors say the same thing. You enter the district at 1 a.m., you explore, wander, talk, watch, and it feels like 20 to 30 minutes pass. But when you check your phone, if it still works, it's 3 a.m., 2 hours gone, vanished, no memory, no sensation, no explanation. One Japanese businessman said he entered a bar at 12:40 a.m. He ordered one drink, talked to a hostess for what felt like 10 minutes. When he stood up to leave, he checked the time. It was 3:22 a.m. He said the hostess smiled and whispered, "Don't worry, nobody remembers the middle." Another man, a Canadian backpacker, filmed a full monologue for his vlog inside the district. When he checked the footage later, the video had a jump cut, a missing block of time. He didn't remember stopping. He didn't remember restarting. But in the footage, his hair was wet when he resumed recording, and his shirt had changed. But he had no memory of going anywhere near water, and he owned only one shirt that night. He never uploaded the video. Chapter 13. The Girl with the Purple Eyes. Some figures in the district appear in more stories than others, but one figure appears in dozens of accounts. Independent, unrelated travelers who had no way of influencing each other. She is known as the Girl with the Purple Eyes. Travelers describe her as very small, very pale, wearing a white dress, with long black hair, and eyes unnaturally violet. People say she appears at random, always alone, always silent. Sometimes she walks past you, sometimes she stands in a doorway, sometimes she sits at an empty table, staring at nothing. But what's most disturbing is this. Those who make eye contact with her report the same sensation. A memory, someone else's memory. Not a vision, not a hallucination, but a feeling of being inside another person's life. One woman said she felt like she was reliving a moment of drowning. A man said he felt himself falling downstairs. Another claimed he felt a blunt hit to the back of the head, hard enough to make him flinch physically. But the moment they look away, the sensation stops. People try talking to her. She never responds. One traveler tried touching her shoulder. She looked at him with those violet eyes, and he collapsed on the ground, shaking. When he woke up, he was outside the district, lying in the street, with 3 hours missing from his memory. He left Asia the next day. Chapter 14. The Shadow Host. There is a figure that regulars fear above all others. The host. People say he appears only when necessary. Like the district summons him. He is described as tall, extremely thin, wearing a long black coat, with a face that always seems off. Eyes too narrow, lips too long, a smile that comes a second too late. He speaks softly, politely, but with a tone that makes your skin crawl. The host does not greet you. He does not welcome you. He asks one question. Have you lost your way? If you answer yes, he guides you to the exit. If you answer no, he tilts his head, just slightly, and whispers, then why did you follow me? People who encounter the host all report the same thing. The air gets colder, the lights dim, their heart rate spikes, and when they look away, even for a second, the host disappears. Some say he walks the district to keep people from discovering something. Others believe he's not human, but the most frightening possibility is the simplest. Maybe the host is the closest thing the district has to a guardian. Chapter 15. The Exit That Changes. Leaving the district is harder than entering it, not because you're trapped, but because the exit moves. If you try leaving too quickly, the gate will be gone. A woman from Spain walked through what she thought was the exit and found herself in a completely different corridor, one she had never seen before. The lights were red, not violet or blue, deep, pulsing red, like a heartbeat. At the end of the corridor was a mirror, huge, floor to ceiling. She walked toward it slowly, feeling something was wrong. When she stood in front of the mirror, her reflection smiled at her. She didn't smile. Her reflection pointed behind her. She turned around in terror, and the corridor was gone. No lights, no sounds, just darkness. When she turned back toward the mirror, it wasn't reflecting anymore. It was a doorway. She ran. She doesn't remember what happened next, but she woke up outside the district with no shoes and a bleeding nose. She never spoke about that night again. Chapter 16. The Workers Who Follow. People believe the workers never leave the district, that they sleep there, eat there, exist only inside those neon walls. But that's not entirely true. Some travelers claim the workers follow them. One man says he saw a performer, one of the masked dancers, standing across the street from his hotel at dawn. Just standing, still, facing his window. Another tourist, a woman from Korea, says she saw a bartender walking behind her on the opposite sidewalk, perfectly matching her pace. But when she turned to look at him, he vanished. The creepiest story comes from a Singaporean couple who took a taxi home after visiting the district. When they looked at the rearview mirror, they saw someone sitting in the back seat with them, someone who wasn't there when they got in, someone with violet eyes. They screamed, the taxi swerved, and when it stopped, the back seat was empty. The driver said, "You should not have gone there," and he refused to take their money. Chapter 17. The district breathes. Every person who has spent more than an hour in the district reports the same physical sensations. Warmth that comes from nowhere, a vibration under the ground, pressure in the ears, sudden nausea that passes instantly, a feeling of being watched, a sense of déjà vu, a tingling in the fingers, mild confusion about time. Some believe the district is built above something, machinery, generators, servers. Others think the district itself is alive, a sentient organism that reacts to the people inside it. Walls shift, lights pulse, Paths rearrange, mirrors warp, time bends. As if the district is breathing, as if the district is thinking. And the more you explore, the more you feel like you are not the one observing, you are the one being observed.